Hello, hello. You're watching Trending with the Tennessee Tribune. I'm Ashley Northington, the agency director and founder at DENOR Brands and Public Relations. I'm here on behalf of the Tennessee Tribune with Mr. Frank Mondelli, who is running for General Sessions Division 10, the Judgeship. So we're here to learn more about the candidates running for office so that you can be informed when you go out to vote. So let's jump right in. Mr. Mondelli, would you please tell people who you are and why you're running for office?
Well, I'm Frank Mondelli. I'm candidate for General Sessions Judge Division 10, and I'm running because I want to make safe neighborhoods and a safe community here in Nashville. I was raised by a couple of parents who were really good to me and always taught me to give back to this community if you can. And I've had a really good education. I've had a good religious upbringing, and those were the foundations of my character. Those are the building blocks upon which I built my practice. I've devoted 27 years of my life in the field of law. There hasn't been a month or probably a week go by that I haven't practiced in General Sessions Court in some form or fashion, in addition to the other areas of law that I practice in: personal injury, divorces, family law, as well as probate.
Sure.
So
what was it that you think has made you prepared for this specific judgeship?
The many hours that I've put in General Sessions Court, the cases that I've experienced myself, whether it be defending a family who's being evicted by an unscrupulous landlord at Christmas time who hasn't been given the amount of time notice required by the statute, someone who's had their wages garnished and they're taking more than the 20%, 25% that they're entitled to take, indigent cases for the Middle Tennessee Mental Health Organization for those poor people out there, and the vast number of preliminary hearings I've done for DUIs, simple possessions, burglaries, all kinds of criminal cases.
Sure. Now, talk to me a little bit about what your vision is for this specific court, and kind of share a little bit with us about what this specific court, the District 10 or Division 10, does.
Well, Division 10 is one of the 11 divisions of General Sessions Court. And General Sessions Courts do everything from simple traffic stops.
Yep.
They have the one-stop docket where people are given citations, criminal citations. They do the small claims court, which includes jurisdiction limits up to $25,000 for car accidents, slip and falls, contract disputes, things of that nature. Then there's also the collection docket, and of course the eviction docket, and then the Middle Tennessee Mental Health docket, and then the rest of those cases that are handled are the criminal cases in General Sessions Court. My vision is to make sure that all the resources available to everyone that comes into Division 10 has access to things that can help them to prevent and keep the rate of recidivism down for the revolving door of people keep coming back into the courtroom. We've got to help people. There's obviously a need. If you've got people that keep coming in 3 and 4 different times for the same thing, those people need help. So it's society, and the society begins with the courts to help administer those people and prevent that. And that's not only for criminal, that's also for people who have problems with balancing their checkbook, because they're always being sued for bounced checks. They're being garnished because they can't make payments. And there is the Nashville Coalition Center that helps address those issues and brings the two groups together, the garnishee and the garnisher, to address how can we prevent future garnishments having to be issued. Make your payments timely, why aren't you working, things of that nature.
Right. So tell me, what do you think the biggest issue is facing the General Sessions Court, and how would you address it?
2 things: the rate of recidivism that I mentioned earlier, and how do we assimilate people back into society and keep them from coming back into the criminal system. I think opioids is a huge problem that we have here in America, and in every county and every city here in Davidson, in Tennessee, as well as Davidson County. So that is probably the largest problem that we have. The great thing about Uber and Lyft, I think I have seen my DUI cases drop because of that, and people are taking more advantage of it, and that's a good thing because there's nobody out drinking and driving. Now, we still have some people who don't get the message that buzz driving is drunk driving,
Right.
and there's no room for that. You put too many people's lives at risk. Everybody's lives at risk when you're out drinking and driving. So,
That's right.
and those are just some of the things that I see that are real important that we've got to address.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about restorative justice. A lot of conversations have been held recently around, making sure that people have access to other types of care rather than going into jail or, those issues. Do you have any thoughts in that arena?
Well, I do. I think it's a good program. It's needed, but we have something like that. But I think that probably what we need to do is expand on it.
Okay.
It needs to be enlarged.
Yeah.
We should have, especially as we talk about domestic violence, we rely on the experts on that because they say that it takes so many times for a person to be abused before they finally leave the abuser.
Yeah.
So the experts tell us that. And we need to teach those people when they come in the first time. We don't want to see you a second or third time.
Right.
So that's just one example. And that's not really restorative justice. But when we have people who come in who burglarize,
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the victim?
Right.
They have rights too.
Sure.
But we've got to take the criminal element out of the individual and get them restored back into society. How do we assimilate them? And I think that's a good process to start. Help people get back into society and not be on the outside of society.
Right. So, what would be, if you were elected judge, what would you say your legacy would be?
Integrity, honesty, and equal justice, as my platform stands for.
Integrity, honesty, and equal justice. Tell me a little bit, what does that mean for you?
It means that you view each case on its own merit, and you apply the law, and you rule fairly. And I think that's what the citizens and the individuals who come in the courtroom expect out of their elected officials. Nothing more, nothing less. We try to balance mercy and justice for those who come in the criminal system. Don't want to be too harsh on somebody because we don't want to make it, again, a revolving door. You punish someone and they can't get out of jail, or they got to do jail time, they're losing their job, they're probably going to lose their family, they're going to lose their home, and that puts a tremendous burden on society, not only to that individual, but to all of us. So we have to temper that and hopefully find a way to change their bad habits into good habits. And when we can do that, then we see the rate of recidivism down. We've got that person back into society. He's producing, he's providing for his family, and we're not using our resources on people who are just coming back all the time with the same old problem.
Right.
That's what we've got to cure because we don't have sustainable resources for just people, the same old people, all the time. We need to, that's an area that we've got to address and help those people get the need that they need from society.
Sure. So I'm going to ask you a really hard question now, and that is, why should the voters elect you?
I'm the most experienced and I'm the most qualified. I've been doing this for 27 years, practice of law. I've handled just about every case that General Sessions Court that a General Sessions judge would have to hear on that docket. As I said, there's 11 dockets, and I've done all 11 dockets in addition to the other practices that I've done. I'm probably the only sole practitioner of the group who has practiced civil, criminal, chancery court, family court on a daily basis for 27 years. I don't know that any of my opponents can say that.
Wonderful. Well, folks, you heard from Mr. Frank Mondelli here, who is running for General Sessions Judge Division 10. I hope that you will go out and learn more about him as this continues. That's all we have for Trending with the Tennessee Tribune. Thanks.